Hello everyone, it's Justin Dawson. It's Monday, bank holiday in Dublin, Ireland, and in 2 days' time, I'm flying out to LA to meet Joe Way. It's episode 95 of the All Things Techie podcast.
Here's the show that loves to talk about gadgets and gizmos, from A-Logic to Yamaha, cameras to control panels. You get what I mean. We love talking all things techie. In fact, that's the name of the show. And here is your host, Justin Dawson.
To episode 95 of the All Things Techie podcast. My name is Justin Dawson. You can find me on YouTube and all the socials as well. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, you can tweet me or X me at Justin or Dawson. At AV Tech Junkies is the handle for the show. Also on YouTube, Justin_or_Dawson, and on Instagram, Justin_or_Dawson. And of course, you will find me on LinkedIn and all the other socials, except for TikTok. I haven't bothered with TikTok yet. Why? I don't know. I'm 41 years of age. I don't want to be on TikTok. That's it. Welcome to episode 95 of the All Things Techie podcast. It's been a while because I've been so busy getting stuff ready for Infocom. Vegas approaches. Road to Infocom is literally T-minus 2 days away. Want to thank all of my sponsors. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm sticking them up in the corner of the screen here. Yeah, over my shoulder. Thank you to all the sponsors that are coming on board to sponsor the All Things Techie podcast. Have to do a big shout out to X2O Media, that's my main sponsor, to Logitech, Wirestorm, and Nureva. All will be sponsoring the All Things Techie podcast over in Vegas for Infocom 2024. Really appreciate it. It means so much. 95 episodes ago, did not think that this would have happened. That I'd be going out to Infocom. That the podcast and my tech influencing has grown to such capacity. So much has happened since episode 94 of the All Things Techie podcast. First off, AV Groupie had its inaugural networking event in Dublin city centre. Now, unfortunately, this was hit with a bit of an issue with our main motorway. For our international listeners, we call it the M50. And as soon as there's a crash on the M50, it's like a car park. But this was exceptionally bad, where a motorcyclist had a fatality. They closed off the main motorway of Dublin for most of the day, which resulted in like 4-hour congestions and, all the side roads of Dublin City becoming a car park. And that had a knock-on effect. We had nearly all our tickets sold out. They were free of charge. X2O Media sponsored the night. But we still had a great time. And the point is, build it and they will come. And they did come if they were able to come. And it was a super night. My thanks to X2O Media and all the people that attended the Lemon and Duke Bar on the night. Didn't get home till 2 a.m. Some of my friends and members of AV Groupie stayed out till 4 a.m. Say no more. But great night, and thanks to X2O Media. And don't forget, if you're Irish or you represent UK and Ireland, and you want to become a member, it's free of charge to become a member of AV Groupie. Just log on to www.avgroup.ie and you'll see how to register there as well. And I'll be promoting that while I'm over in America as well. Secondly, I got shortlisted for the Rave Readers' Choice Awards. I have no idea who has nominated me for the Rave Readers' Choice Awards, but the voting took place, and by the time this show airs, or maybe 2 days after this show airs, I will find out who the winner is. But even just to be nominated as Personality of the Year, I think it is the title that Gary Kay and the Rave team have given it, or Person of the Year. But to get nominated out of that was fantastic. I am also nominated for AV Professional of the Year. I think is that the title, AV Professional of the Year, in the Higher Ed AV Awards that will take place on Monday night before Infocom starts. So literally, I arrived. Some of my timeline for America. I fly out on Wednesday Dublin time at 3:34 p.m. I arrive in America minus the hours at 6:30 p.m. Go to Casa Joe Way in LA, who is putting me up for 2 nights. Silly him. Putting me up for 2 nights, and then we are going to see UCLA on the Thursday with BC Hatchet, and then we are also, I think we might be stopping by USC as well on the same day. So I'm seeing 2 campuses, and then on Friday we road trip to Vegas, and I'm telling you, like I the plans were to get from episode 94 up to episode 100. And just the way things have fallen in the past month, episodes have been delayed. You know, other people are busy as well. My guests for other parts of the show, I was to attend the Dublin Tech Summit as well. Didn't get along to the Dublin Tech Summit because I've just been that busy. And that's just the answer. Personal life also got the there's talks of an autism assistant dog that will be coming for my son Kieran. That is going to be happening in the next 6 months or so as well. So we did the Autism Assistant Dogs Ireland did a house visit. That was all in the past 2 weeks or so. I'm losing track of days. It's been that busy. But if you'd like to get in contact with the programme, details are on the bottom of the screen at Justin or Dawson, at AV Tech Junkies, YouTube Justin or Dawson, and on Instagram Justin or Dawson as well. Talking about neurodiversity, I also was on the Midwich Live programme with Chris Nito and Jenny, and talking about neurodiversity and technology and giving a higher ed perspective on that as well. If you missed that show, it is on YouTube. Do check it out. It was great to be part of that program and start the discussion, because the discussion is going to get bigger at Infocom. I really think that this is going to grow some legs, and we need to create a standard. And I have pretty much, I even said it in Midwich Live, I have volunteered to pretty much head this up. You know, we have to change the landscape. I've said it on Across the Pond with Joe Way, that we need to get rid of the old-fashioned lecture theatre. The lecture theatre must die. That is the slogan. I was going to get t-shirts, but might be a bit late to get t-shirts as well. What else has happened during the week, during the month? The portal died and then came back. Well, it didn't really die. They switched it off. There was so much controversy over the portal, both in New York and in Dublin, that they had to do things about it. This is no reflection on AVI SPL or the portal's team. It's just people misusing it the wrong way. When you put two major cities together, New York and Dublin, you're going to get a minority that will act the maggot. That's pretty much it. So there was people in New York holding up their mobile phones or cell phones and then taking pictures of their mobile phone and holding up a potato. To which some Irish minority decided to show pictures of the 9/11 disaster and atrocity. That's going too far. That's not a joke. And with that, they had to put in some standards and had some AI features that if you go too close to the actual camera, it starts blurring out. Then it's machine learning and what it should be shown and what shouldn't be shown. So now they have put in Dublin, especially, they put some flower beds in front of the portal so you can't get too close to it. And they have a couple of staff around the portal that are trying to make sure that people behave themselves. And they have set times now instead of the 24 hours. Will Portal ever return to 24 hours? I don't think so. Does it need to be 24 hours with that time difference? Who knows? Well, the point is that there's more than New York and Dublin on the portals. There is Lithuania, there is Poland as well. There's talks of Brazil coming on board later in the year. So with that rotation, maybe that will become a 24-hour thing. But why ruin it for everyone? And you know what? I was in town the other day doing some business, went by O'Connell Street, looked up the side road to see was there still as much of a crowd outside the portal. And yes, there is, which is fantastic. It is becoming a tourist thing to do. Let us know what you think about the portal. There has been some controversy. Was it worth it? Is it in the right place? Get in contact with the All Things TechIE podcast at Justin or Dawson on Twitter. At AV Tech Junkies is the Twitter handle, or the X formerly known as Twitter handle, for the show. We're on YouTube and on Instagram as well if you are watching back on this program. So Infocom plans. Well, we sort of have discussed the start of the Infocom plans. So arrive in on the Friday, have to set up the booth, and I tell you something, listeners and viewers, like the Hetma booth is going to be a double up with stairs. I seen the plans of this and the blueprints and just went, this is going to take some work to get set up. But I've just been come off a Zoom call with the team over at Hetma, and all I can say is you just notice the amount of people behind the scenes that's doing work that I didn't even know were there. And this is going to be pulled off, and by God, it's going to be good. So really looking forward to that. So arrive into Vegas on the Friday. There's talks of us doing a concert at the Sphere. There's also some concert on a Saturday night as well. Sunday, special meal. Can't say from who, but thank you very much. And then on Monday, it's the Higher Ed Summit. And Tuesday is the Higher Ed Summit. Monday night is the Higher Ed AV Awards, which I'm a finalist in. Don't know who nominated me, but thank you. And then on Monday, that's Monday night. Probably might end up in an ice bar on Monday night. Tuesday, second day of the Higher Ed Awards or Higher Ed Summit, and then I think on Tuesday night, if I'm not mistaken, is AV Roki, which blends into Wednesday, the start of Infocom. I'll be doing a show every day from the Hetma booth, and also will be around the show floors. So to give you a perspective, the 100th episode probably will happen while I am over at Infocom, and I don't know which episode it will be. I would love to say that I am going to do something special for the 100th episode, and maybe leave a gap between episode 99 and episode 101, because I love to do a reel of what has happened in the past 100 episodes since the launch of All Things TechIE podcast, which happened pre-COVID, and there's been so many great episodes, I couldn't pick one out. And if you have been a fan of the All Things TechIE podcast for some time, please let me know what your favorite episode of All Things TechIE podcast would be, or even a moment of All Things TechIE podcast that you've enjoyed. Get in touch with the program at Justin or Dawson, at AV Tech Junkies, on YouTube and Instagram, and also stream on LinkedIn as well. Here's an interesting one. An expanded new system of automatic number plate recognition ANPR cameras in Garda cars is flagging so many road traffic offences that Gardaí on duty are not able to respond to all of them. Instead, members of the force are mostly on only targeting drivers signalled by cameras for multiple crimes. Garda members who spoke to the Irish Times said the sheer volume of road traffic breaches is so great they cannot respond to each one, and by targeting their responses to vehicles and drivers flagged for multiple suspected breaches, they believe they are pursuing the worst offenders on the roads. Offences that can be picked up by cameras include having no tax or insurance, a driver disqualification being linked to the vehicle, and speeding, among others. However, news that the new camera have identified far more offending than the Garda force can cope with will come as a disappointment to road safety campaigners, especially at a time when road deaths are increasing, with 79 killed to last Friday, 6 higher than the same time last year in Ireland. Susan Gray, who founded PARC, PARC, Road Safety Group, after her husband Steve was killed in Inishowen, County Dublin, Donegal in 2004, said it was clear that more Gardaí should be assigned to road policing. The fact Gardaí could not pursue all of those drivers being flagged by the ANPR cameras underlined the sheer scale of that offending. We now only have 623 roads policing unit members, down from 736 a few years ago. It's continued growing in the wrong direction. While 130 Guard road policing unit vehicles have been equipped with ANPR systems, Park noted that there were a total of 332 road policing vehicles. However, many of these vehicles are too old to be compatible with the new camera system. Well, that creates a problem in itself, listeners, that they don't have the actual vehicles to be compatible with things. The EU Digital Identity Wallet will let users store various important documents in a single app and identify themselves quickly, but some groups have raised privacy and surveillance concerns. The EU approved landmark rules around the digital identity earlier this year, paving the way for citizens to quickly authenticate themselves using a digital ID. The European Parliament approved the Digital Identity Regulation on the 28th of February earlier this year with 335 votes and 190 against, with 31 abstentions. The regulation was approved by the EU Council a month later and entered into force this month. The supporters of this regulation say it's an important step on the road to digitalise public services across the bloc and let EU citizens securely store their digital identity. The regulation also aims to let EU citizens easily store important digital documents in a single location and quickly access public and private services across the EU. It will be a couple of years before the regulation is fully implemented, but certain large-scale projects are already in motion across the EU, with Belgium launching its own digital identity wallet earlier this month. Meanwhile, some people have had concerns about this regulation will endanger the privacy and digital security of EU citizens while opening the door to potential surveillance. With this in mind, is it safe? The digital identity wallet is essentially an app that will let users store key information like official ID and bank details in a single digital place. The documents then can be loaded onto this digital wallet are various, from train tickets to university degrees. The European Commission says this wallet will let users access public services both in their home country and across borders, and by using the wallet quickly to identify themselves. You know, great in principle, but a bit worrying nonetheless. You know, there has been so many hacks in Ireland with our health system. The HSE during COVID was hacked. It was, you know, we're seeing data breaches all the time. Is it safe to have an EU digital wallet? What would be your thoughts on it? Let us know what you think. Get in touch with the program. The details are on the bottom of the screen if you're watching us on YouTube. At Justin or Dawson, at AV Tech Junkies. On YouTube, please like and subscribe. At Justin_or_Dawson. and on Instagram, Justin_or_Dawson. Once again, a prequel to Infocom. Thanks to all the sponsors that are helping me get to Vegas. Logitech, Wirestorm, Nureva, and of course my most important sponsor, X2O Media, who is sponsoring me out at Vegas. Thank you so much for getting involved and supporting All Things Techie podcast. It means so much, and X2O especially being so supportive, even at the inaugural networking event of AV Groupie last month. This is a worrying fact from an article from CNBC. Samsung faces probe after 2 chip workers exposed to radiation, authorities says. South Korean authorities are investigating Samsung after assessing that 2 workers at one of the tech giant's plants were exposed to radiation. The 2 patients who were hospitalized were showing abnormal symptoms of radiation exposure in their fingers, the Nuclear Safety and Security Commission in South Korea said in a Google translated statement on Wednesday. The incident took place at Samsung's Jihung plant, which is about 25 miles south of the South Korean capital of Seoul. The patient's general blood test produced a normal result, according to the authorities. Samsung said in a statement that 2 employees at the company's semiconductor production facility in Jihung, Korea, experienced accidental exposures to X-rays on their hands. The individuals were currently undergoing follow-up tests in the hospital, and Samsung is fully supporting their treatment and recovery. The company will cooperate with all relevant authorities and ensure that reoccurrences are prevented, the tech giant said. This one really piqued my attention during the week, listeners. A new AI service allows viewers to create TV shows. Are we all doomed? Showrunner will let users generate episodes with prompts, which could be an alarming next step in a fleeting novelty. One of the key strategies of streaming services is to keep you in the front of the screen as long as possible. As soon as one of the episodes of a show you're watching ends, the next one pops up automatically. But this approach has its limits. After all, when a series ends, Netflix will try and autoplay another series that you think you will like, but it has a terrible success rate. Maybe the tone of the suggested show is wrong, or maybe it's too exhausting to be dumped into the sea of the exposition that a new show brings. Maybe it's just too jarring to be pulled out of one and dumped straight into the other without any room to breathe. This week, a company called Fable Studio announced the launch of Showrunner, the world's first AI-generated streaming service. With a prompt and just a few words, Showrunner promises to allow viewers to write, voice, and animate their own television episodes. Users who sign up for Showrunner waitlist will eventually get to see 10 animated shows. One of them, Ikaru Shinu, is billed as a dark horror anime. Another, San Francisco, is an anthology show about people living in Titular City. And then there's Exit Valley, a South Park Silicon Valley satire. Users can watch the episodes and make their own by writing prompts that will generate into scenes that can be stitched together into full episodes. Wow. I think one of my colleagues recently showed me an AI tool where you could do a similar type of thing, write some comments, and it will create a full video with certain characters. Are we going too far? Is this what the Hollywood strike was all about? Let us know what you think about AI and your own TV show or station. Get into contact with the program at Justin or Dawson on X, formerly known as Twitter, at AV Tech Junkies. Is also on X. That's our podcast show handle, and also on YouTube and Instagram, and also on LinkedIn, Justin_or_Dawson. Well, that's all I have time for in a very short episode 95 of the All Things Techie podcast. Why is it so short? Well, I have so much to do, so much to organise for Infocom. But the road to Infocom starts on Wednesday night at Casa Joe Way. We'll be doing some podcasts all the week long during Infocom. Thanks to my sponsors. Again, they're up on screen if you're watching on YouTube, and also on the All Things TechIE website, www.allthingstech.ie. Talk to you in episode 96 over in the USA. Goodbye.
Thank you for tuning in to All Things TechIE podcast, part of the Extreme Media Network. Follow us on Twitter at AVTechJunkies. Subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also watch our show on YouTube by visiting youtube.com/@Justin_or_Dawson. Previous episodes of our show can be found on our official site, www.allthingstech.ie. For advertising and sponsorship opportunities, please visit www.extrememedia.ie.